is Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday the 20-something. 21st? Yeah, Tuesday 21st. I don't know. Tuesday 21st of June, and it's quite light outside, actually. Longest day was yesterday. Summer solstice and strawberry moon. Whatever strawberry moon is. Wait, I'll get you a drink in a minute. Idiot. Not you, the dog. Right, so it's Dram 150. And I kind of wish I'd have done the Rittenhouse Rye for 150 because that was something pretty special. But I didn't really think that one through, so I literally just grabbed a couple off the shelf. We'll carry on with the Americans. So 150, although it's a relatively special number, it's not really much of a special whiskey by the sounds of it. So it's this one, which is Watkins Kentucky Straight Bourbon, Watkins Select, and apparently the original Watkins Select. The full-size bottle looks like this. You're looking at about $17 a bottle. I don't think it's available in the UK at all. I think it's exclusive to Total Wine and More, because that was where I got it from. It's $1.49 for this miniature, and I think this was one of the ones I had to pay for, just a ridiculous amount. So this is from the Levecke company. I think it's Levecke rather than Levecke. The Levecke company, which I've found a little bit more about. Basically, I found a interview with Neil Levecke, who's the owner of it. I don't know when the interview was. I think it was last year. But they're a company that are based in a place called Miraloma in California. So it's here. Just because I've got nothing else to put up in terms of pictures or anything like that. And I'm going to have to have a quick look at which one was it where it was also Levecke? I honestly can't remember now. We had one of them that was from Levecke, and I can't remember what. It was like three or four ago. Anyway, so Levecke is this company in California, and this interview with this Neil Levecke, it's family owned, and he said that his staff were master bartenders, and essentially what they do is they buy stock from various distilleries, and it's not just bourbon, it's whiskey from around the world and vodka and gin and all sorts of other spirits, and apparently they blend it with water that has undergone reverse osmosis. I have no idea what reverse osmosis is, but apparently they put the water through this process and then they blend it. So they take kind of like core spirits and filter it down or dilute it down to 40%. This one is a 40%. They'll filter it down to that process. Whether this reverse osmosis water does anything, but it's essentially one of these kind of soulless companies that are buying stock and then doing a bit of chemical stuff to it and then shipping it off and selling it relatively cheap for own labels, of which this appears to be an own label for Total Wine and More. However, it's Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey, and it does say on the label this whiskey is aged for at least 36. Sorry, this whiskey is at least 36 months old. So it's 36 months, 3 years in cask. It's a straight bourbon whiskey, and it's from a Kentucky distillery. Which one that is, who knows? Heaven Hill, quite possibly, because they've got loads of the stuff, or Buffalo Trace, or someone like that. Who on earth knows? So we'll see. To be honest, I've not really got my hopes up. So for 150, I should probably be a little bit more excited about that. But you know, it's we just keep chugging along, because when you're doing 366, 150 is not even halfway. So it's a bit difficult to get excited about it in terms of a milestone number. So they might have added colour into it. I don't know. It's possible. It seems to be less of a case with bourbon and American whiskies because of the hotter, more humid temperatures that you tend to find when the majority of bourbon is made, and it's brand new oak casks that have been charred. It picks up a lot more colour from the cask than, say, a refill or even third, fourth refill whiskey will have done in terms of Scotch. So you tend to get a lot more colour from the cask itself, so there isn't actually the requirement to add colour to it because it's already picking it up from the cask. What they might do is they might add a little bit of colour just to get some kind of consistency, maybe, but I don't think it's an awful lot. Now this is quite spirity. They also do, listed on Total Wine's website, is Watkins Reserve Honey, Watkins Reserve Cherry, Watkins Reserve Maple, and Watkins Reserve Cinnamon. So there's obviously a fair bit of stock of this, and they're using it for the other flavoured versions as well. But this is really quite spirity on the nose, and a 40%, and it's quite harsh. You can kind of feel it burning the inside of your nostrils, and there's not a great deal to it other than that, because that spiritiness is overpowering anything else that's on the nose. It's almost like lemon juice. It's kind of like a sour note to it as well. Yeah, it's like sniffing lemon juice. So it's really kind of like acidic. And when somebody of a company describes the staff as master bartenders, you get the impression that this isn't made to be drunk neat, this is actually made to be mixed. To give it credit, it's better on the palate than it is on the nose. Thank God, because that nose, it's, Jesus, it clears your nose out. It's good if you've got a cold, but it's not a particularly pleasant nose. It's really acidic, harsh, edgy, metallic. It's not rough, it's just really sharp. But fortunately on the palate, there is a little bit of a sort of edge. There's a sharp edge all around the edge of your mouth. But there is a relatively soft, it's quite a thick mouthfeel actually. It's not too bad. And there is a caramel fruitiness to it. It's not a classic Christmas cakey bourbon feel like I tend to get, personally I tend to get with a lot of bourbon whiskies. There isn't really the heat either. The heat that's there is alcohol heat rather than kind of the spicy heat that you get from the hotter bourbons like Maker's Mark, like Booker's, things like that, where you get heat but it's not alcohol. This is a spirity heat that is kind of getting the sides of your mouth and the sides of your tongue, and it feels like it's a high alcohol percentage with not a lot else in terms of flavour. But in the centre there is actually a core of kind of toffee caramel, almost like the caramel that you get in a Ben & Jerry's ice cream. You know, like the caramel core that they do? If you took a spoonful of just the core bit, that kind of caramel feel. So it's not unpleasant, it's just a little bit unbalanced. It really is like a total game of two halves. One half is quite rough, young. It's like a very, very young Scotch in terms of kind of like totally tight, alcoholic, harsh, not bitter, but slightly acidic. And then there's another half where it's actually quite soft. It's caramel, it's soft toffee. You know, like when you get chocolate coated caramels, but it's the really soft caramel that melts in your mouth. That's really nice, and it's actually quite pleasant. But it's just totally unbalanced by the other half, which is really kind of like smacky in the side of the face and just like pure alcohol spirit burn. It's not as bad as I thought, because you get that spiritiness on the nose, and you take a sniff of it, and it's like, whoa, this is going to be rough as anything. But to be it's got some elements. It probably does work pretty well as a mixer, because it's got certainly that edginess, that harshness that's going to cut through anything else that you put with it, and it's got enough of a kind of caramel sweetness to it, almost syrupy, not quite maple, but there is almost a syrupiness to it that would work with other cocktails as well. But in terms of a drinking neat, it's just unbalanced. It's yeah. And at $17 a bottle, I think, to be honest, you can get better bourbons at $17 a bottle. I do early times over this, definitely. Ancient Age, something like that, is just a bit more balanced than this is. Almost a bit of cherry on that bit as well. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you got given a bottle, it wouldn't be a total disaster, but you'd probably want to mix it more than anything else. Right, quick rinse out. We'll crack on with another one. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.